Hello and welcome back to another interview for Summary Report. I am Bruce of the Cruz, journalist at TBC 22. Today's topic is changes for permits for the reimbursements of multi-units. And today I'm speaking with Julian Lenhart. How are you, Julian?
I'm good, thanks.
Perfect. Thanks again for taking your time to speak with us on this matter. I know you're a busy guy, so let's get right into it. First question, in the reports, what exactly are the builders and developers asking for?
So essentially what they're asking for is, in terms of when a builder applies for a building permit, there's a deposit. That's to ensure that the work is done. It's like a guarantee the work is going to be done to the requirements of the permit. So, and so what they're asking for is that there's a 1 year right now, the existing bylaw, after 1 year, there's a 25% deduction on that deposit that is applied if the construction is incomplete within a 1 year time frame. And so what the builders are asking is that, or the development community, what they're asking is that there's an amendment that's made so that instead of starting to deduct 25% after 1 year, that's delayed to 2 years for multi-use or multi-unit type construction. So which is like your condos, your townhouses, that type of building. So the 25% deduction of the deposit kicks in after 2 years instead of 1 year.
Do you think they're asking for too much, for too long? Like, is 2 years too long, or 25%? Who decides all that?
No, well, just to give you a bit of an idea, we've developed a working kind of it's a developer community consultation type meeting, and so it's an annual meeting. And the goal is to be able to try and look at policies that affect and have an impact on the development community, and how can we collectively work together to try and find solutions to maybe some of their issues, some of their challenges, and maybe improving some of our policies so that it addresses, everybody's needs, the communities, the development community's needs, and ours as well. So through that process, the community, the development community informed the city that there were some challenges with the 1 year because of, especially for the multi-unit buildings, because they can't often complete them before the units are purchased. So the exterior is done, but the interior can't be fully completed until the units are sold, so that the new property owners have an opportunity to choose the finishes inside of the building, right? So under those circumstances, the 1 year didn't allow them enough time to be able to finish the construction. So we thought that it was reasonable, and we agreed with them that 2 years would be more suitable, and that's why we made the recommendation to council to amend the bylaw to be able to push that 1 year deadline to 2 years before the 25% reduction starts to come into effect.
Right. So has this been a long time coming? Have they been asking for this for a long time during the pandemic, during the past year?
Well, so this is actually come out of a meeting that we had at the end of 2018, beginning of 2019. And so originally we had planned on bringing it forward to council towards the end of 2019, but because of similar issues, the pandemic related issues and other priorities, it made it really hard to do so. So we ended up bringing it forward this year in 2021. However, what we did is because of the difficulties related to the pandemic in terms of sourcing materials, in terms of at one point we weren't able to issue permits for a period of time, we amended the bylaw so that the same bylaw so that any new construction starting from 2019, and then the dates were extended. Now they're extended to September 1st of 2021. Any type of building permit, regardless of whether it's a multi-unit or just a single detached house, would have 2 years to be able to complete their project, their construction, given the challenges with the current situation of the pandemic. So to answer your question, it's something that we've been looking at since 2018.
Gotcha. Kind of going back to what was said in the reports, it seems that like the reason behind the multiple closures was mostly due to the lockdown. But now, like I see, like in the trends, especially in trades and most construction sector, that things have been really looking up. So I'm just kind of wondering, why haven't things bounced back around in Clarence Rockland?
Well, so so in 2020, between March and June, the city wasn't able to issue new building permits. So that's all cities. So in Ontario, so there's a delay because that created a delay. And then depending on the materials, some of the materials are a lot harder to source, or the price to get them is almost not reasonable. I mean, this is speaking in terms of challenges for builders. So I mean, that's not anything that we've directly seen, but from what we hear is that wood, for example, is a lot harder to get the wood that they would need to be able to build, and if they can't get that, the alternative is a lot more expensive and isn't as financially sustainable for builders in those sorts of circumstances. So I think all that together has created the backlog or the delays in construction. Yeah.
Would you say that's because of the rise in the construction sector right now, and everyone needs supplies, everyone needs construction materials? That's why it's just so hard to get it currently?
I mean, I'd be speculating. I wouldn't be able to confirm that it's that. There's a combination of that. There's a combination of closures with the actual milling plants, that type of stuff, where the material is produced. Like there's a combination of things. I wouldn't be able to say exactly what it is for Clarence Rockland, but I know that we're not a unique municipality. Or like we're not the only area where there's backlogs with building.
Okay. For those who might have missed the council meeting, can you give a brief explanation of what some of the things were said and what you were saying?
Yeah. So essentially, I think we covered a lot of it already in the discussion, but essentially, like I said, we agree with the development community. They informed us somewhere in around 2008, end of 2018, 2019, that they had challenges with the 1 year timeline before the deduction came into effect, and requested that we extend it to 2 years for multi-use or multi-unit buildings. And so we agree with that. We've brought forward a report to council to essentially amend the existing bylaw, so that can be that part of the bylaw can be amended. And for the most part, I'd say that members of council were in support. I don't recall any comments, negative comments in that regards. And I'd say that it was approved. I can't recall if it was approved unanimously, but it was well supported by members of the council.
Okay, I see. So, like, how might this affect the average taxpayer in Clarence Rockland?
So it won't really. It's really only for people that are building. So it's either somebody who is building like a self-construction or it's for developers. And what this is it's not tax dollars money. It's really the deposit that they have to provide when they submit their building permit. And so most of that deposit is returned within a year. If the construction is completed within a year, that deposit is returned. The issue is that if it's not constructed within a year, then the 25% deduction kicks in. And so builders, either developers or single builder, ends up losing 25% of that deposit every year until the deposit is completely reduced. So that's really what's at stake. It's not tax dollars money. It doesn't impact the general public outside of developers and builders.
So now that the action has been approved, what might some of the cons and pros be?
I don't think that there's a lot of cons, to be quite honest. In terms of pros, I think this is a really good example of the consultation, the development community consultation meetings that we have in place. This is the purpose of them. I think this is a good example of one area that we were able to agree with the developers, and we're able to recommend some changes that are a benefit to them and to the municipality. It doesn't really change anything. Like I said, it's the deposit money, so it's not accounted for in our budgets. It doesn't really fall under our budgets or our expenses. So we're not planning on that to plan our budget. So for us, it really doesn't change anything. It's really more for the development community. I think this is a very good step forward for them.
So Councillor Simard said that this might set a precedence of business owners kind of going back and looking and saying, can I get a reimbursement from like 3 years ago, 4 years ago? Do you think this might be a bad repercussion from this new action?
So that comment wasn't made directly to this report. There's two things that kind of came up. The report is looking forward. It's not intended in looking back. So as of when the report was approved and the bylaw was approved, the bylaw was amended. So as of 2021, moving forward, this is what's in place. What you're referring to is a letter that was received by a developer that was requesting that we make an exception and we go back in time, and that we grant them or that we reimburse them the deposit reduction that they've incurred. And so that's a separate discussion, and that's really a question of whether or not council wants to support that or not. It's not really something that the administration can really comment on. We respected the bylaw that was in place at the time, and as we needed to. So it's not really the same issue. And that's something that hasn't really been fully discussed. I think that is going to be rediscussed at a later council meeting.
Do you think this new action might encourage people to buy up land and not develop on it?
It really only it's really only for the multi-unit buildings. So for the most part, I mean, it wouldn't be your general, like your single detached house builder. It's more geared towards the bigger developers that would be in a position to build the multi-unit constructions. And again, given that it's in this, the intent here is to allow them a bit more time to be able to finish sell the unit, and then be able to finish the unit with the purchaser. And it's really just extending it 1 year. It's not going to change all that much. For every other single detached type construction, it's still a 1 year that is in effect.
Do you think, last question, You think that once the pandemic is over, the bylaw will change back to its original rules in terms of the enforcement policy?
Yeah, well, so the bylaw, the report, essentially, there's two amendments to the bylaw. There's one amendment that is specifically geared towards the pandemic. So that one, what we ended up doing is we've put in place the 2-year limit there before the deduction kicks in, and that's for all types of construction. That's during the pandemic. Once the pandemic is done, single detached type constructions are going to go back to the original bylaw, which is 1 year. They have 1 year before the deduction kicks in. For the multi-unit constructions, that's permanent. That's not going to go back to 1 year once the pandemic is over. So that change is going to remain. So only the single detached type construction is currently given the 2 years during the pandemic period.
Perfect. I think that's all the time we have for today. I want to thank you, Julian Lenhart, again for taking your time to speak with us.
No worries. Thank you. I appreciate it.